guys, this is Franzi, and this is my journey of getting to 9k in Solo Dueling Club. Since I have a lot of matches, so I picked out the ones that I think would serve some educational purposes. Hopefully, you'll be able to learn something from it. And let's get started. Now, in this first match, it is Hermione against Hermione. I assume that I probably banned her summon because I didn't get the BP part on record. So I assumed that I probably banned the summon. So I began with a Pugno and Broomstick next. So this is what I choose to use immediately because this is a good combo and I should always make sure that Broomstick is behind a Pugno. So they did interrupt Ron at the right time, so that is very good for them. And I used Nebulous afterwards, and I prepared to use the port key if they used Nebulous, but they didn't. So also, Sectum Sempra is my second highest card, so I want to make sure that as soon as my cards are deducted, I want to use them as soon as possible, otherwise it will mess up my card cycle. So right now I'm just waiting so to make sure that I can have a lot of damage at the same time. So it's always better to do this instead of releasing your cards one by one because this way you'll be able to attain more damage at one time, meaning that they wouldn't have the chance to prepare to respond. I accidentally went into the port key, it wasn't my intention, but luckily they were around middle, so I got to put the Pugno on them. So that is on me. So using Hermione with Thunderstorm, and Hermione can actually be cut off, so it's a good idea to make sure that you put Hermione somewhere she wouldn't get interrupted by Exposal. But right now I want to use Sectum Sempra, so that's why I'm running around. So then I don't have to use the Broomstick to dodge the Inflatus. And that is what happened. So now I want to make sure that I have port key to open up, to break his invisibility. That's why I kept port key on hand as well. And I win the game. Next game. In the next game, I use Harry. Because Harry is a good echo against other Harry, Hermione, and Bella. That is if I'm on the same level, of course. I lost to a Bella player because I literally have 5 levels lower of my decks on my deck, so that is unfortunate. That is on me. Once I catch up, I'll make sure to get my points back. So I begin with putting my twins down because I really don't want to use any cards before they deploy anything. So now that they already deployed something, I will use it. Use my cards. And just trying to see what I can do. So usually I wouldn't put Snowball without a control card, because I didn't bring one, so I usually use it with Stupefy. The reason I used it over there was because he's close enough that it's harder to dodge when we're like really close to him. So I see that it is my chance to use this combo. So I use it as soon as I get the chance to. This one I can kite, I don't have to use the Pugno to slay the summoned. Over here, because I don't have Exposal, I choose to use Ron to clear the field for myself. And at this point, I'm just trying to find a chance to use a Pugno on him, but unfortunately I don't, so I would rather use it on the twins. But since he came close, I got to use it on him. And just using the Stupefy to clear the field. It's not a good idea to use Exposal on Bomb, but because I have a lower deck, I rather save up my health points for the more immediate parts. So Harry is one of the few echoes, the other one being Dobby, that will allow you to actually win against a higher deck player. So the reason why is because a lot of the cards in his deck is common and rare instead of epic and legendary. But also because all his cards are very important, so there's a purpose for every single card. I'll go into more details in a Harry tutorial later on, but right now just watch my gameplay and notice how I'm trying to be very calculative with how I'm using my cards. Also with my steps, because kiting them is one way to save up my magic points. I see 2 books, so I put out my puppy so that it will block off the damage for me. So over here, I win the game. Now to the next match. In this next match, I also use Harry because Harry is also very good against Snape. I only have to use a Pugno to slay his Time Turner. So that is a very good thing because Time Turner is one of the more important the more key cards that Snape has to use to put out his damage. So that's why Harry is good against Snape. So over here, I tried to bring her over using Exposal, but unfortunately that did not work. And she puts out and as you can see, as soon as I use a Pugno, I'm able to clear her Time Turner very easily. So usually I wouldn't recommend trying to get rid of Kevin because you have to assume that they should always be able to stack up. But I got my chance to use Stupefied and Snowball, so that's why I was able to bring Kevin down to a lower health. Usually don't try to slay Kevin because, as I said in the previous match, it's very important to be very calculative with your cards because every card is important for Harry. So using Ron to make sure that I don't get the damage from Grope. And as soon as I come down, I realized that because the Time Turner is already low in health, I can actually just use my basic attack. And over here, because you put a second one, I can use Stupefy to break it. And again, like I said, when they're really close, I have the chance to throw the Snowball. But it's very, it's not a very good play. It's just an option if I don't have anything else to use. Okay, again, I use Harry, and I think, yes, they are Hermione on the other side. Just looking through at what they're doing. So against Hermione, because I don't have Nebulous, so I have to make sure that I try to take as much damage on them as soon as possible. So it's a competition on how much damage we can take.
What do you want now?
So because I have Episky, I should try to heal up when I have the chance to. So over here, I wasn't sure if I can get it. I really shouldn't have used a broomstick like that, but since I already did, I have to try to use the Pugno on them. So over here, they use Orb of Water. I can use the broomstick to dodge the last damage. But because I didn't quite get my my sequence correct, so that is why my Pugno doesn't actually follow, my broomstick doesn't actually follow a Pugno. So right now my priority is to get broomstick back in my hand so I can make sure that I can use a Pugno plus broomstick. So it's always good to have your cards in the right order for making combo attacks. That is a Pugno plus broomstick, or a Pugno and then priority after it, and then broomstick. So then I can use priority on a Pugno and use the broomstick to send them all over. So I see that he's trying to put Nebulous on top of Hermione, and I don't want him to copy a second card, so I have to get rid of Hermione as soon as possible. So this player actually is doing a really good job at juking, but because I can use the broomstick to dodge the final damage, I can still go against him. So right now it's just a matter of trying to use a Pisky to heal back up because I don't have sight of him, so it'll be the matter of trying to guess where he is. So over here I get on Hagrid to use a Pisky because when I'm healing on Hagrid, I don't have a healing debuff. So as you can see, as soon as I got off Hagrid, my healing slowed down by a lot. And I win the game. Okay, now on to the next match. Hermione against Hermione and Bella. So for Hermione, we already seen my Hermione in the earlier video. I have from Sempra as my secondary high cost card. And everything else is 2 magic points. Well, I start with having Expose and Nebula, so these are my 2 choices of first card to use. Now I see Cassandra, so I try to push her away with Exposal. I don't want to get any damage from Cassandra. And over here, just teleporting Ron away to make sure that he can actually attack. Quite a lot of Orb of Waters. So that was too late because I used my broomstick. Because the Apugnas only last for 15 seconds. So after 15 seconds, oh yes, I messed up over here. But this is really to just keep in mind that it's okay to make mistakes. Just make sure that you don't give up until the last second. So right now I'm in a very bad position because they have a companion on the field, and so just dodging the copied card from Hermione. So there's still a chance, and I just have to make sure I don't mess up after this. Now I have Hermione copy Sectum Sempra. I gain some extra damage on him. Yes, and saving Exploso to cut off his Orb of Water is very important. And it's just the last of it. And I win. To the next match. It is Harry against Hagrid and Bella. So actually, Harry is actually very good against Hagrid as well. So Harry is bad against Newt and Neville. So these 2 will be my key Echoes to ban if I wanted to play Harry Echo. Because Harry can have a lot of explosive damage. So then Hagrid wouldn't be able to heal up. Yes, so he moved in the right time, and so did Hermione. I couldn't, so I actually missed the hits on both of them. I can't see the health point for the summon, so I don't actually have a good idea about how much damage I can take on them. It's a really annoying bug that they should fix really soon. So, I chose not to use Exposo, thinking that he probably has low cost summons, and using the broomstick to dodge Crucio. If I had put Ron out a little early, I could probably use Ron to dodge Grope, but it is okay. Mistakes happen, so it is fine. Over here, deploying my puppy, so then he can tank damage for me. So just using the broomstick to deal some AoE damage. And like I said before, if they're really close to you, then using the snowball would be fine. But I didn't really want to use the snowball at that point. thinking that I can probably get a stupefy damage. Unfortunately, I didn't, so chose not to use a secondary snowball. And we win the game. To the next match. Hermione is very good against Dobby because I use Thunderstorm. If I use Whizbangs, then it's not the same thing. Harry isn't good against Dobby, but what he can do is to make Dobby run out of steps with all the little skill cards. Yeah, he have spell cards that he have. So just forcing Dobby to use a lot of steps is a key concept.
All right, everyone, we're in this together now.
Because I need to deduct my Thunderstorm, so I chose to use these cards I'm supposed to break his invisibility with. But ideally, I shouldn't use Portkey by itself. So once Sectum Sempra is deducted, use it immediately. And just going over before my Apugno disappears. As soon as he goes into Nebulous, put the Portkey down to break his invisibility. So over here, I did it a little late because I didn't have enough magic points. Ideally, if that happens, I shouldn't use it. But I assumed that I could make it on time. And that was a misjudgment. So again, misjudgments happen. Do not keep them on your mind for too long because that would not do anything good to the game. Just keep calm and continue the game. You wouldn't know what happened until the last of it. So it's a very key concept that we should always keep in mind.
This isn't what the book said.
Over here, just dodging the last damage with my broomstick. Now I have a health advantage. Just have to make sure that I continue to have this advantage. So it's very easy to get lost in having the advantage. So and then they end up getting the game back on their favor. Just make sure that you don't give up and you play the game seriously until the last second. So continuing to the next match. Again, it is Hermione versus Hermione and Dobby. And like I said before, Hermione is very good against Dobby because the Thunderstorm headlocks. Did I mention that? I think I did. Oh, I have Apugno and Broomstick. So this will be my first choice. So now just waiting to make sure that so as soon as Nebulous is gone, put down Ron, so then he actually targets the person that I want to target. Because I know that he's Hermione and I wasn't sure if he was Whizbangs or Thunderstorm, I had the Portkey under myself just to make sure. I probably should have been a little further from him, but I didn't want to use my steps. I think the steps are very important to dodging later on. Just continuing to going out and back inside will give you back the invisibility. So that resets the status. So the reason why I didn't use Sectum Sempra is not only because I know that he has a broomstick, also because I knew that as a Phoenix Thunderstorm, he will need to use summons. Over here you kind of messed up with the fire. You're just pushing on with the game, trying to snowball the game to my advantage. Very important. Using the Nebulas whenever that is an option to hide from damage. Okay, just keeping calm. And if he puts the Nebulous on top of a previous Nebulous, then if the invisibility was broken, it will continue to be broken. So that's why you should always put Nebulous somewhere else or go out of Nebulous and go back into the original one. If there wasn't a port key. If there was a port key, put the Nebulous further away and don't overlap them. In this game, I believe it was, yes, Pure Totem. So the trick to dealing damage to Pure Totem is to use Stupefy and Exposal. So I use Exposal first and then I do Stupefy to make sure that I can get rid of the Pure Totem. And once again, just reminding that I shouldn't use a Pugna on a Singular Book. I can kite it and use basic attack to damage it. Yes. Now he puts the Pure Totem down again. I will use the same tactic to clear it. So this will make sure that there will be no health bonus from Hagrid Echo. So they wouldn't be able to heal up. For some reason, I couldn't deploy Ron the first time. I don't know if this is something wrong with the game or was it just me. I assume it's the game. I trust myself. Okay, continue to use the same tactic. So the key point about going against is, and for some reason, it didn't seem to, it didn't actually break the other one, so that was very odd. I might have missed it or not. Not sure what happened over there. So just continuing to kite. But because they are not in a good position, so I choose to use Stupefy independently. And then over here I can use it like this, but because I wasn't sure about how much damage I can deal, I should reminded myself of that before I started the game. So at this point I have to get rid of the twins as soon as possible because I forgot that I used Stupefy. Well, the game's a little bit like not on my favorite, but it is okay. Just don't give up until the last second. And I can heal when I get on Hagrid. So if I mess up, I shouldn't worry too much. Just keep on pushing with the game. I'll be able to find a chance to do a comeback eventually. Because as Harry, I always have a lot of chances to come back. Because I have a lot of skills to hit the back of the field. So like Exposal and Broomstick, I'm able to actually go over to the other side. If they had Hagrid, I'd probably lose this match, but if they had Hagrid, then they wouldn't be able to actually take a lot of damage from me with the twins. So the twins was something that I kind of messed up on, but as you can see over there, as soon as I have Hagrid, I get on the car and start using a Pisky. So that'll bring the game back to my favorite. In this game, it is Harry versus Hermione, because they have a much higher deck than I do. I think they started with 3000 health. So I have to be very careful to get my damages right. So I don't have anything to block for myself, so I actually just have to stand here and just endure it because... And I tried to look for a position to use the snowball, but I couldn't see him, so I wasn't sure where. And usually Hermione doesn't carry priority, so I can use priority on Episky. So putting Ron down, and then as soon as the invisibility breaks, Ron will go over at him immediately. This is a good part about Ron. So now I'm just trying to find a spot too. So this wouldn't work against the puppy because the puppy is too large in its size. And that's why the snowball didn't actually take damage on him. It was just the puppy. So over here I have the puppy take damage for me, and I just have to make sure that I get rid of Hermione and dodge. Yes, dodge that. So getting cut off, but it is okay. Just waiting for him to come over. If he does come over, I have a Pugno. So just waiting for him to use that. And I win the game.
We're in this together now.
Hello, close. Okay, and to the next game. I always try to ban Neville and Newt. Like I said before, Neville and Newt are very good against Harry. So those two are my priority bans. So I see that he has a Pugno on him. I wait for him to see if there is a Pugno, if he's going to come over. So over here, I choose to put damage on Cassandra. This way she wouldn't be able to tank as much damage.
I'll get you for this. Episky.
So here's the concept. The field actually slides a little bit, so if you see a chance to actually hit with a little bit of distance, you can actually get the damage because it will slide. So this is a glitch. I call it a glitch, but because it was never fixed, a lot of players actually accept it as a part of the game. I don't actually take that. So yes, again, for some reason, I always have some trouble with trying to
This isn't what the book said.
put out Ron. Don't know if it's that I'm doing anything wrong or such. Just a little slow, but it's fine. It's continuing to play the game. So just keep in mind that Hermione actually is able to deal more damage in a short time, but we have more chances to deal target damage on him if we put, like say that we have the puppy out and then we have our companions. They can't really do much because the thunderstorm is completely random. Okay, I messed up over here because I aimed for where the Haygirl originally at. Over here, it's already a pretty short call of the game, but I assume that they probably don't have a lot of steps. Putting out the puppy to actually tank some damage for me. And then at this point, it's just about trying to get the last damage. Very close. Oh, it's 50-50 for Harry against Hermione. So it's pretty normal to have a close health point. This game, I remember it being a snake game. Ah, yes. So using the Apugno against Time Turner to get rid of it. So I choose not to do anything about Kevin this game because oh yes, and also because I'm Hermione this game, so there's not really much I can actually do. I'm just waiting for something that I can actually use Ron against. Ron cannot do anything against the tree, so just keep that in mind. I don't have to clear Kevin against Hermione because I don't have any summons. I'm not scared of him having a damage buff. So just pretend that doesn't exist. Because it also doesn't do any damage to me. Oh, except for the damage buff. We're using the Sectum Sempra to clear the field and trying to use. Over here, I noticed that because the target was on me, so I had to use the broomstick to make sure that Grope has the target on the puppy, because that's what the purpose of the puppy is for. Over here, I tried to wait for Hermione's cooldown. I don't think she managed to copy. She did manage to copy, but the tree was already dead at that point. Not sure if it was worth it. So when the Time Turner doesn't follow Snape, it's because they don't have enough steps. So like you notice over there, this Time Turner actually didn't follow him. So whenever you see that happens, it tells you that Snape is like low on steps. Yeah, so make use of that information. Last match, I use Hermione against. I think they also Hermione. Or wait, what was it? I think they were Harry. Yes, they're Harry. They play generally well, and just using the port key whenever that is possible. I noticed that they have.
I've always fancied myself a knight.
Just trying to put Ron somewhere where they can't actually push me. They can't push it onto me. I don't mind if they actually cut it off. The point of putting Ron out is just to actually tank some damage. That's all. I noticed that they will use the snowball whenever I use the broomstick. So after this point on, I chose to use port key. Otherwise, I'll get a lot of damage. I'll have to take a lot of damage from the snowball, and I don't really like that. I probably should have walked around a little more, but it is okay. I can still play. So as you can see over here, I'm just putting out damage with the port key instead of using the broomstick. Because I noticed that this person puts out a snowball whenever I use the broomstick against him. Very close, but I won. GG, and this is the end of the recordings. I have homework this, that's why I did a one-shot. If there is any questions, please comment in the comment section. Bye bye.